This is the western end of the model railroad. Further out there to the west is Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and west of Harrisburg. That's actually hidden staging. There's 14 staging tracks under there for eastbound or westbound trains. This town here is called Westville. Now the lighter colored ballast is the Pennsy, Pennsylvania Railroad. And the light gray colored is actually the Reading Railroad. Further on the Pennsy, further west is Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Further west on the Lehigh Valley, the Reading Railroad is Rutherford Yard, which is near Harrisburg. In this area, there's about maybe 16 industries to serve by both the Pennsy and the Reading Railroad. Now, the Reading Railroad actually has, the Western Maryland has trackage rights on the Reading Railroad. Further around this way, the Reading Railroad disappears back into staging, and that's going off to Shippensburg and Lurgan, which is an actual locations on the Reading Railroad.
Steve, you've done a lot of like special detail here over the years, highly detailed. Example, the ice cream truck. I mean, as every time I walk around this layout, I see something new.
That's a large part of the fun of model railroading that I consider to be. Yeah, there's a lot of details here. A lot of the businesses are named after friends of ours, and there's a lot of little gags here and there. And over the years, you're right, we've added a lot of new details, come back and redone areas. But I started the railroad when I built the house in 2000, and it took about maybe 10 years to have it completed to what you're seeing today. But during those additional years, we come back and cleaned up areas and put more little details in, change things around. No major changes. I wanted to get it done within my lifetime, and I'm happy to say that it's done as much as a model railroad ever is. Come around here, this is the town of Blackwood. Now, on the fascia here is a picture of the real Blackwood train station, which was served by the Reading Railroad. Now, this building still exists, and it's in very good shape. It was redone by a group that made it a project and redid it. So myself and several other members of our crew went over to this station, and guys built an actual scale model replica of the Reading Blackwood train station. And by the way, all the town names here are actually sections of the town in which I currently live, Deptford Township. So the town names, they just have I guess a Pennsy flavor to them. So I just put them here on the model railroad. There's no actual buildings like you see here in the town of Blackwood, other than the train station. Okay. The double track you're looking at is the eastbound and westbound tracks. In this case, we're actually headed eastbound. We're going to walk around to the other side, and I'll show you the next town. I didn't mention it earlier, but right here in the town of Blackwood, there's a branch comes off here, which is the Lebanon Branch, which is just hidden staging. There's 8 tracks under here, hidden staging for the Lebanon area. And if you look under here, you can see some of the trains sitting under there. This is designed so we can line up for whatever track we want, A through H. And the reason I did that is rather than have numbers everywhere, A through H. And this is what's on each one of the tracks. A and H track are basically, they're just passenger trains, so I don't need car cars there. So you just line up as you need. This tell you which track you're lined up for. Then you turn the power on and obtain the power.
This is the trains that are...
These are the trains hidden here, right above you here. The engine numbers and what the trains are and how many cars. Obviously, these tracks are a lot shorter than the main hidden staging, so that's why there's less cars in each one of them. Again, the Lebanon Branch. Over here, this is for detection of shorts. The green lights means there's power in and power out on each one of the blocks. We have 1, 2, 3 boosters, A, B, and C, and each one has 4 different sections. 1 through 4 here, 5, 8, 9, 12. And this is the list. And this is for purposes of finding problems. If you notice, like on zone 1, it's the eastbound main track and the sidings from Harrisburg to Mid-Valley City, and then the wires are red and white. So if we have to find a problem, we can get under and find it. Zone 2, eastbound main and sidings. So it's the whole railroad broke down to sections, including the narrow gauge. This is the next town further east of Blackwood. This is the town of Woodbury. Now the timber train you see sitting on that siding, that's actually on the Mount Kinsley branch. And we'll go around further on the Mount Kinsley branch. That timber train that you see is actually bringing timber down from further up in the mountains in the Mount Kinsley area. It's headed for a sawmill in Mount Kinsley to be turned into actual lumber for the timber. Oak Valley Branch is the double track. Single track again up above is the Mount Kinsley branch.
That's the Woodbury station.
Woodbury station, flag stop station.
You want to talk about this?
Yeah, up there you'll see there's actually a narrow gauge railroad up there too. It's the Valley narrow gauge railroad, and we'll explain that. We'll go into a little bit more detail later. Once we show the Pennsy, then we'll do a little bit more on the Valley narrow gauge. This is the next town in line here. Small country communities. This is the town of Grove, just the tractor supply company, team track. The other town over there, Woodbury, has farm implement buildings and things of that nature. Main line continues on. It's going to cross Timber Creek at this point. Up behind Timber Creek, above Timber Creek I should say, is the town of Mount Kinsley. And again, that's you'll be seeing the beginning of the Mount Kinsley branch in a couple of minutes. That's Mount Kinsley coal. That's where a lot of coal was transferred from the narrow gauge railroad to be processed and then turned over to Pennsy.
Okay.
Further around, this is Coal Junction. This is where the Mount Kinsley branch joins the Oak Valley branch. As you come around, we're going to be entering the main town, which is Valley City. This is where there's a classification yard, engine terminal. We also have a connection with the Schuylkill branch of the Pennsylvania Railroad, which is a real Pennsylvania Railroad line. We'll be seeing that in a few minutes. Here in the town of Valley City, there's an industrial area. This is probably the biggest industrial area on the railroad. And there's a branch here called, it's the North Street Industrial Track. So we'll be visiting that in a few minutes. We'll get more of a close-up on the industries there.
We have both steam and diesel houses?
Both steam and diesel. We represent, the transition era, the 40s, 50s. Basically, maybe up to the 60s. That's about as new as anything here on the railroad goes. We have the main classification yard, and then further down, we have what we call the East Yard. Trains running on the line will stop here, drop off cars, pick up cars, and take them to their final destinations. or send them to their final destinations.
A lot of nice signage, period specific.
Yeah, I try to capture, again, you know, the 40s, the 50s, a little bit of the 60s. And I don't think you'll see too much that doesn't fit that era here. I mean, we get a little, maybe a little over the edge occasionally, but not that much. So if you come further around, This is the area of Jericho Junction. You'll see there's, again, a branch. In the background is a Schuylkill Valley branch that goes up and it heads towards Reading and Philadelphia. That's in the background where you see those trains sitting. Mm-hmm. Now, if you go to your left, that branch goes over there on the other side of the north side area of Valley City, and it heads out to Pottsville, Pennsylvania.
Okay, past the ice house.
Past the ice house, where you see Canals engines, past there, and we'll go around that side. We'll show you a close-up of the Schuylkill Branch going off to Pottsville and the north side industrial tracks there.
Okay.
Moylan steel is a joke that my buddies play on me. They're trying to convince me to rip out a mountain and put a steel mill in. So that's just the part, and that's on the narrow gauge mountain I'll show you.
Okay.
Up here is Jericho Coal Company, another coal facility. In front, down below, is Pine Creek.
Got some fishing action going on.
Fishing action. Again, another little town, tall pines, just some farming equipment and things of that nature. These units sitting here, they're actually on their way to Reading, Pennsylvania, and eventually Philadelphia. As we go around, you'll see a cabin car on a train that's headed down the Schuylkill Branch, going to Valley City Yard. And then those cars, the train will be broke up and those cars sent to the different destinations at that point. As we go down the hill, going through an area called Valley Green, and eventually we'll go into Garden City, another little industrial area. The names you see, Betancourt Aviation, Betancourt Blimps. One of my friends is a pilot, and he's into aviation, so that's basically aimed towards him. Yeah, up above we have a replica of a hot air balloon. We actually fly the Deptford Township Police Department's hot air balloon called the First and Finest. That's a replica of the one we started with back in the 90s, and in a couple of minutes you'll see a replica of the current one that we bought in 2005. I mentioned these town names are actually sections of Deptford Township. It's where I did my career in law enforcement, and I started the balloons that you see back in the 90s. This is the last model town. This is the town of Garden City. Again, there is the section of Deptford, Garden City, doesn't look anything like this. I just put the name on there. And there's a lot of detail here. And there's a lot of businesses named after friends and little gags and things of that nature. You want me to fire up the balloon?
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
This is a replica of our hot air balloon and our chase vehicle. If you notice, this is the vehicle. When the balloon is flying, there's vehicles like this falling on the ground, and that's the replica of the trailer that the balloon is kept in. And that's us getting ready to land. We actually burn so we don't slam into the ground. And what it represents here, crew members are down here. They've already grabbed the ropes that the crew in the balloon have dropped, and they're going to guide the balloon so it doesn't land on the railroad tracks and land someplace safe. Now in the background you'll see Lehigh Valley engines. This is a interchange between the Pennsy and the Lehigh Valley. Now the Lehigh Valley runs from here to Bethlehem, and a large customer in Bethlehem would be Bethlehem Steel. There's also other industries there. So cars are dropped off here or picked up here by the Pennsy and by the Lehigh Valley. Now in the real world, in this area, the CNJ had trackage rights on the Lehigh Valley. As you continue on, there's a lot of industry here, both served by the Pennsy and the Lehigh Valley, or the CNJ. And that signal indicates clearance for a train to go further east. Further east of here, it will be Easton and Phillipsburg, and connections with the Central New Jersey, the Lehigh Hudson River Railroad, several other lines in that area. So that's what the staging at this end represents.
Talk about that.
Yeah, in the basement. This building is called Matson's PJs. It's actually named after a friend of ours who has now passed, P.J. Matson. And when you would ask P.J. what does the P.J. stand for, he would never tell you. We asked if it was Paul Joseph, Peter John. He would never answer that question. So, as a salute to P.J. Matson's PJs, in the basement of Matson's PJs is the Oak Valley Model Railroad Club. So that's visitors waiting to visit the Oak Valley Model Railroad Club. And you can see the police are out there protecting the people who are trying to visit from the crew of the Oak Valley Model Railroad that are picketing for better working conditions and more money. These people picketing aren't going to get any more money. Neither are the guys that actually work on this model railroad. McCracken Woodworking is named after one of my friends. A lot of the wood that this railroad is made out of was cut in his wood shop and put together, so I wanted to honor him. I've got some stuff named after Russ here also, but if you notice on the side, I call Bill the Wood Leprechaun, so that's what it is. He's the McCracken Wood Leprechaun Company. Now we're going to, this is the north side industrial area on the flip side of Valley City. So what you're looking at here is different businesses served on the north side, industrial track. And in a minute you'll actually see where the Schuylkill branch comes up and goes around. So closest to the camera is the Schuylkill branch, and the tracks further back is part of the north side industrial tracks. Some of the things we've done recently is put more lights inside the buildings, interiors inside. Most of the buildings here are pretty standard kits. In some cases I've kit bashed them, some cases put them together as designed by the manufacturers. But I always try to do something to at least weather them to make them look a little more realistic, not so shiny plastic, and then put little details inside or outside to kind of show it off a little bit better than the plastic model they start life as.
Now we'll talk about the station and the founder.
Okay. This is the passenger station here in Valley City. If you notice, there's a little statue there. Okay. He is allegedly the founder of Valley City. His name is Ellis Pesley. And next to him is his pet rabbit hound dog. So he just happens to have a name similar to some other guy. And there's actually a portrait on the other side of the layout that shows Ellis Pesley. He looks like some other guy with a similar name. This train you're looking at, this is actually coming from Pottsville. Its destination will be Valley City Yard. But while the train may have cars to be delivered here locally on the north side, but if that's not the case, the whole train will go to Valley City Yard and drop off those cars, and then eventually pick up other cars to take back to Pottsville. In some cases, bring cars with them to deliver to the north side industries here. So this is the end of the modeled portion of the Oak Valley branch of the PRR, and then further ahead is, again, now we're starting back over. But we're going to go over it and we're going to show you some of the narrow gauge, the Valley narrow gauge railroad in a few minutes. All right, this is part of the Valley narrow gauge railroad. The job of the narrow gauge railroad is to bring coal or lumber down from Mount Kinsley mountain area, bring it down to the town of Mount Kinsley where it's processed, and then turn it over to the PRR. So this is Mount Kinsley, basically the top of the mountain, Mount Kinsley Mining. To our left, further out to our left, would be going further up the mountains. And that's where the lumber would come from, the timber would come from. In some case, and the coal also, there's more coal up there. Now this area here is called Redstone Ridge. And if you notice the train sitting in front of you, some are loaded with coal, which is coal coming from the mountains, going down to, again, processing plant in Mount Kinsley area. And there's also empty lumber train, okay? So that is going back up to get more timber. The empties are going back up to get timber. And in this case, there's also some processed lumber that's going to be used further up the line. So the loads, again, are going down the mountain, the empties are going up.
Okay.
This little town here is called Cooper Village. This is an old coal mining town, obviously owned by the coal mine that these miners work for. So the company housing is owned by the coal mine they work for, so they actually pay rent to the coal company. The tools and the food and all the supplies they need are sold by the company they work for. Back in the day, coal miners weren't even paid in American currency. They were paid in company script. So the only places they could buy groceries and tools with those tickets was with a company-owned store. And that's what's down at the end of the street. Now the day we're visiting here happens to be a Sunday. So the coal mine is shut down. So the coal miners are being entertained by a jug band. There's actually military reenactors there, which represents some guys that are part of our group. They're military reenactors. And there's the school and the church. Now I mentioned earlier some of my guys want to rip out that mountain that's in the background and put a steel mill there. So I've been telling them it's not going to happen. That sign was actually up on top of the mountain at one time, and they were trying to convince me that mountains don't make money for railroads, but steel mills do. So I said, well, it's not going to happen. So that's why the sign says project canceled. And it was moved, the sign was moved down here. It says project canceled. However, you look real close, you'll see a truck there that says Moylan Steel on it, and there's surveyors out there. They were surveying, put the steel mill in, even though the project's allegedly canceled. But if you notice now, there's police officers arresting the surveyors for trespassing. So that's the next what the next volley-in will be, I don't know yet. Now the coal mine that you passed and the town is actually owned by a man that has a lot of money, and this is his mansion here. If you notice, sitting next to his house is his private railroad car and Doodlebug. Now it's East Broadtop, so this is kind of like East Broadtop Lake.
So what gauge is running up here?
That's HON3, HO narrow gauge. A lot of people confuse it. They think it's, N scale. It's not. It's HO narrow gauge, HON3. The number 7 you see there, that's actually owned by the lumber company, so the timber company. And that's on its way down to the town of Mount Union to be processed. Come around here. Again, we mentioned before, this train that's sitting here, this is actually on the Pennsy standard gauge, the PRR, the Mount Kinsley branch, and this is also bringing down timber to be cut into lumber. So that's on its way down to Mount Kinsley also. In Mount Kinsley is both the narrow gauge valley, narrow gauge, and the Pennsy Mount Kinsley branch standard gauge. Again, the narrow gauge up on top. It also serves those, that's brick kilns there, making brick. So the narrow gauge actually serves that too. And the town of Mount Kinsley, which is kind of like an older town, it's been here for a long time.
Steve, I do have a few questions.
Sure.
Let's talk a little bit about the signaling and the DCC control system, how that system operates.
Right. It is DCC, both the narrow gauge and the standard gauge are DCC, Digitrax DCC. The signals that you see, I don't have detection on it. I looked a lot into possibly doing detection. I just couldn't afford it. So all those signals are operated by the local operators when they need a signal thrown. If you want to go around, you'll see I'll be changing this one. This is westbound, Oaks Cross. All right.
Right.
So it's kind of like the cheap way to do signaling.
But the signals can be used during operating sessions.
Exactly. What the plan is, when an area is being operated and a through train might be going through, the local operators can throw the signal to stop so that they don't get run into. Again, just a cheap way to set it up. So you can do all the Pennsy aspects just by rotating the signals. The red button turns it off so you don't see the change.
Got it. Okay. So the Digitrax control, it's hardwired and wireless?
Exactly. Right. We've got the wireless, and you can plug in and whatever the operators want to use.
Okay.
We've got both.
And then as far as automated switches go, I see here mostly in Valley City Yard there's a lot of electrified switches.
The idea being if you can reach the turnout, reach it and throw it, hand throw it. But like what you're seeing here, these are actually, trying to remember the actual manufacturer, but it's you know, momentary contacts. Mm-hmm. So here, I'll throw one. See this, the station, can you see number 5 there? Is it, or is it 3? 3. Okay. Obviously, right now it's lined up for the main. Now it's for the siding.
Okay, so let's talk about your operating sessions. You do have a car card system. Maybe just give us a brief explanation of how that works.
Sure. Each car on the railroad has a car card. If you notice, these are cars that are destined to go to Garden City on the Lehigh Valley Railroad only. So it's an old system, but it works well. The X mark is where it was last at, and the slash says its destination. And again, we're talking Garden City, Lehigh Valley Railroad. So this particular car's flat car is on track number 2 here in the Valley City Yard. It's destined to go to Garden City, Lehigh Valley Railroad, Capitol Lumber. The next car, its last location was in Pottsville, which is on Schuylkill Valley Branch. And now it's destined to go to Garden City again, Lehigh Valley Railroad, to Bethlehem. And the last car waiting, last destination location was Pottsville, and now it's going to Garden City, Lehigh Valley Railroad, Bethlehem also. So all these boxes here are different destinations. So each track is flexible, so you can change it for Garden City, Lehigh Valley Railroad, or any other location here. And all around the railroad, this is the railroad basically stretched out end to end. West, okay, Harrisburg and further west. The other end, Phillipsburg, Easton, further east. So this is the railroad stretched out. And the red dot tells you where you're currently standing. For new operators, when they come here, they can easily see where they are. And the fascia, as you can see, has a lot of instructions for different things. But it may distract from things, and then again, but it gives information. You can, wherever you're standing, you can always see west is to your left, east is to your right.
Okay. So when you actually operate, it's a point-to-point layout.
Exactly.
Open houses, you have the ability to just circulate trains.
Exactly. Under here, hidden staging. We'll go around, I'll turn on the lights so you can see the hidden staging. Right now, we're going to be looking at the West End Yard, okay? I should say westbound yard. These are trains that are parked under there on each one of the tracks. It tells you the engine number, what train it is, what the consist is in that particular train. So under here, the westbound staging, which is what we're looking at right here, all right? These are trains, there's 14 tracks under here altogether, and east and westbound main. So during the open houses, when the public is here, we just run trains. We don't do any switching. We just basically run trains. We could do some local switching, and occasionally we do, as long as it doesn't interfere with the, you know, the mainline trains. Which, the way it's set up, I have it set up that way, so you can do local switching and not interfere with the trains that are just running for the people that want to be entertained. So again, now what you're looking at here, all these yellow lights mean that's where the basically the engines are parked, okay, ready to come out. You're clear. All right. If there was a red, you went too far. Mm-hmm. All right. And the toggles turn the power on and off. So what we'll do is, when we're going to obtain a train, we'll turn on the power on that particular track. You punch in the engine number to obtain that engine, and then as it starts moving, then you'll see other lights come on.
And then this last set of lights tells you if the switch is thrown for that.
Exactly.
Right now we're on the main.
We're on the main here. This end's on the main, and the other end's on the main. Now, if we were to go down to one of the tracks, you'll see it'll stay there for a minute, and then it'll eventually go down. There you go.
Okay.
So it's lined up for that track, so you can bring it out. The arrow points the direction which you will be going out.
And normally when it's left on the main, that allows you to run continuously around the layout.
Exactly.
You can run through the hidden staging of the two mains.
Exactly.
Well thought out.
Thank you.
How long did it take you to plan this?
Well, I built the house in 2000. This is my retirement house. And then once I knew the size here, I started to design this. And then the word got out in the hobby that, you know, I was building a new model railroad. I had a smaller version of this at my other house that my son now lives in. But when I retired, I wanted to build the final layout in my lifetime. And thanks to friends like yourself, I've accomplished that in those years. All right, this coal train coming by a double-headed I-1s is actually export coal coming from the coal mines of western Pennsylvania. It's going to South Amboy for export. We're going to follow this all the way around till we lose sight of it when it's headed for South Amboy.
On this train, Steve?
I think about 40, I think somewhere in that area. I'm not really sure. I think I was incorrect in the number. I think it was like 24, 26, something like that. I've got 40 on the ore.
Okay, all tucked away, back in staging.
They didn't do bad, but again, you asked me how many, there's actually 24 hoppers on that.
Okay.
So edit that part out. So it was, yeah, 2 steam, 2 I1s, and 24 hoppers. So what this tells us, how many cars will fit on each one of the staging tracks, what it'll hold. In this case, 2 engines, 16 freight on that, and 1 cabin car. So the tracks are different lengths. The longer ones, obviously, we put the longer trains on.
Okay.
All right, in this case, we're going to line up for an ore train. Okay, it's an ore extra coming from Philadelphia, going to Pittsburgh. So as you can see, it's on track 1. This is the engine number. So I'm going to line up for track 1, turn on the power, line up the turnouts, because we're going to be going out the east end. Again, this train's coming from the Pennsy ore docks in Philadelphia, headed to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So this is westbound. Leaving Garden City, going through Valley Green, going upgrade, going under the Schuylkill Branch to Reading, Philly. Going through the town of Pine Acres, little flag stop there. The background is the Jericho Branch, going to Jericho Coal and other areas. Through Jericho Junction. Entering Valley City. To the right of the units is continuation of the Schuylkill Branch. Headed for Harrisburg and eventually on to Pittsburgh.
All right, so I want to thank Steve for sharing his layout with us this evening. A lot of fun things go on here on a weekly basis. You can learn more about the layout through Steve's Facebook page. There'll be a link to it in the show notes for the video. And thanks again, Steve.
It was a pleasure having you. Hope you guys enjoyed your tour, and you're all welcome to come and see it in person.